Welcome to my channel. My name's Heather. Thank you for watching, liking, sharing and subscribing. I hope you enjoy the insights here in this reading. It's a general reading. You can take what works for you. It may also apply to someone you are close to at this time. If you have strong influences in your birth chart associated with another sign, please feel free to cross-watch for further insights. I have shuffled and laid out the cards, so let's start now. I work with the 12 houses of the zodiac, and the cards that appear in each house bring relevant influences at this time. In your first house, you have part of fortune, which is symbolizes increase of some kind. This card is it's a very fortunate thing to be having in any of the houses of your chart. It indicates that perhaps talents or abilities that you haven't harnessed yet, or you haven't learned to use yet, or you just haven't acknowledged, are starting to come to the fore. They may be rising to the surface, so therefore they are increasing for you, and this is going to help you going forward. The first house deals with yourself, your inner self and your outer self. It's your personality, how you project yourself to the world, how you are perceived by others, and the physical body, your vitality and your energy, and so on. So with the part of fortune appearing in there, what that indicates is that you're going to be feeling quite good. You're going to have good health, and you're going to be feeling fairly powerful in your in the way you are moving through your life. You're being received well by others. You're able to solve conflicts and deal with any issues quite easily. You know, you're projecting yourself in a very positive way, and you're coming across as almost like lucky. You may, as I said, you may notice certain gifts and abilities starting to appear for you. It's going to manifest in the way that you are, your physical body. Perhaps it's with a sports regime or with some kind of health regime. You're going to be feeling pretty good, and you're going to maybe notice that you're doing quite well with something, or it could be that you are you're going to be sort of almost like in the limelight. People are going to be perceiving you well. You may be asked to do some public speaking, so you're going to be projecting yourself very well, and this is a very positive influence. Later on, when we deal with the 7th house, which is all to do with your relationships, how you are appearing at this time and how you are projecting yourself into your one-on-one relationships is also going to be important. So this will come in later as well. In your 2nd house, you have Moon, which is also your soul. It covers a great many things. It covers your moods, your emotions, your intuition. There's a strong feminine influence in there. So this is appearing in your 2nd house, which is the house of income, your money, and it's your self-worth, your personal values, what you own, property as in real estate, land and issues around that, and it's your what you love as well. And so therefore what you love, you want to own. It's that correlation. And having the moon in there, you may just be finding that your income and your finances are going through phases. So they may be up sometimes and down others. So you're going to be going through the phases of the moon with that. Or you could be asked to be, or you may be bringing strong intuition into what you would like to do when it comes to your money. You know, what you actually want to do with it, how you want to use it on a day-to-day basis. And you may not have a steady flow, so what you may have to do is think about ways which you can create a steady flow for yourself, or have ways and means of putting some money aside so that you create a stable income, as opposed to going through some months having abundance and then other months having nothing, and now you're having this constant up and down. It can make you feel a bit confused. You may also be having maybe there's something hidden, something's not quite clear for you. You haven't got clarity on certain issues. Something could just be hidden from you. or just not being revealed at this time. There could be some clandestine activities going on. Also, if you're following investments and the stock exchange and so on, the moon rules the stock exchange, so you may be wanting to do a bit of research on that. But what it's asking you is to bring in your instincts, use your instincts to when it comes to handling your money, and dealing with others that may be handling your money. This is the other thing as well. But you may also, as I said, when it comes to possessions and so on, you may just be feeling quite emotional about certain things, or emotional about your property or your values. Following on, you have another watery moon-ruled sign, and this is coming up in your third house. You have Cancer, I feel. So these two are sort of connected. They connect in many areas. So you've definitely got this very strong watery, instinctual, emotional, and intuitive aspect going on. The third house covers all forms of communication. So that's written, verbal, body language even. It's how you talk to others, what you write, what you post on social media. It's also early education issues. It also covers short trips. So you may, if you're going to be doing a trip, maybe it's worthwhile going to the sea, because this is ruled by the moon. You may really enjoy going to the sea, spending time at the seaside. You're probably going to get a lot out of that. It's also the moon, well, Cancer is ruled by the moon, but it indicates that you could be quite moody. You could be requiring time to just retreat and withdraw. So think of the Cancer, as the crab is symbolic of that. They like to go into their shell periodically. They also use it as a defense mechanism. But do not underestimate a Cancer at any point of view. If they are threatened or cornered, they will come out fighting and be quite ruthless. So they're very protective of their own. They're very protective of their possessions and so on. And they're also, Cancerians are very protective of their family. So the third house also covers siblings, so you may have a female sibling which is experiencing some sort of issue. Possibly you may need to be talking to them about certain things. You may have to watch what you say. Don't lash out unnecessarily or be crabby 1 minute and just say something negative. So yeah, keep that moodiness and that crabbiness in check, but also be deeply intuitive, and you may be in tune with others around you and just know what to say. This is the other aspect of it. So you've got to be able to balance those two. It could be also aunts and uncles. It's like family members. So yeah, deeply intuitive, also very creative, and quite psychic as well. So when it comes to your communication, you may be using all of those wonderful qualities of Cancer in your communication. But bear in mind, it does follow the phases of the moon again. So if you need to retreat to work out certain things, or to just understand things a bit better in your mind, then that's possibly what you might need to do. But it's a feeling sign. It's a lot of emotions going on in that house. Then it's also to do with contracts. This house also covers contracts of all kinds. So you may, as I said, you may really need to be using your intuition now to guide you to go forward. Harness all those skills so that you are making the best decisions. And I say that because coming up in your fourth house, you have a solar eclipse. This is revolution. So this is indicating change, and quite an upheaval at that. So sudden change. You may be moving because the fourth house deals with your home. It also deals with your ethnic identity and your foundations, your roots that came up from your origins. So you're good, but I feel it's connected possibly to do with your home environment. You're maybe asked to make a decision now at this time about where you're going to live. You may be forced to relocate. You may be deciding to move, or you may be forced upon you. but it's going to be a bit of a jolt. So, or it could just be really like you just don't feel like it now at this point in time. You just feel that, wow, to be tackling this, it's going to feel like that. It's going to feel like it's kind of been thrust upon you. Or you just may need to be making a decision about your home, which may be difficult. So there's issues around that. Or as I said, it could be issues to do with your perhaps your ethnic identity, which could also be home. You may be having to move away from where you feel the most settled. You've got your roots are there. You understand where you live. You understand your ethnic identity. You're very close to that. It's shaped your foundations in life and so on. And now you're being asked to move somewhere where you don't have that anymore. So there's lots of connotations to that, but it is a change of some sort, and quite a quick one at that. So if you are having to make decisions about your finances or about your contracts and things, and it may be affecting your home life, then this is the reason why it's asking you to be intuitive and to go with your deep emotional feelings and actually assess things on a deep level, because you will be having to make decisions there. Then in your fifth house, you have Taurus. So Taurus is a very grounded, stable sign. It can be also very obstinate. It can be very set in its ways, but it's always methodical, determined, very earthy, very sensual sign. And always it strives for stability. It likes to squirrel money. They like to squirrel money away. They like to be financially sound. So now this is coming up in your fifth house. The fifth house deals with children. It deals with your creativity and love affairs and having fun, all forms of recreation. And so now with this appearing, if it's to do with your children specifically, or it could be children that are close to you, you may be asked to create a really stable and secure environment for them. Or they could be going through a phase where they just require you harnessing all your earthy abilities, being a Capricorn, and to provide a really strong, stable foundation for them. Or it could be that they are going through choices about their recreational interests. It covers all the arts. So it's singing, it's ballet, it's dancing of all kinds, it's all the arts. They may be going through a period where they are now entering that world and starting to enjoy those activities, and it's your interaction with them during that period. Create a stable environment for them to enjoy those activities, take them to the extracurricular and so on. Or they could just be going through a particularly arty phase. There's lots of different ways to look at that. If it's to do with your creativity, keep your feet on the ground, be methodical. Taurians don't like change. They like things to remain steady because they feel secure like that. And if they're unhappy about something or they don't like something, they just simply won't make a decision about it. They'll procrastinate as long as possible. They become evasive. So when it comes to your creativity, keep things on the ground. If you've got work that you want to do, or your project that you want to do, it needs to be balanced. It needs to be stable, and it needs to be. It will require you to put your love and your beauty, whatever you can harness from that, into it, because Taurus is ruled by Venus, and Venus covers everything to do with beauty of whatever kind it may be. So you may also have artistic projects, or you may be dealing with Venus type activities, which is anything to do with beauty, hair, art, the arts, which is dancing and singing and so on. So you may be using your creativity in those fields. But whatever it is, always be grounded, always be earthy, and aim for a steady progression, and keep your feet on the ground. Then also when it comes to the fifth house, also covers love affairs. So if you're not in a relationship and you're now meeting somebody, they could be quite Taurian. And this will bring a lovely grounding element. And because you're a Capricorn, having a Taurus as a partner is a natural kinship, because you both have Earth in your chart. And so you may be, and Taurians can be really quite beautiful people, but they're slow moving. They're not very quick. They love sensuality, so that you can expect to be enjoying food and drink and beautiful sensual pleasures. And it could be really quite a beautiful relationship, very grounded, very earthy, but they're not fast movers. So don't expect to be swept off your feet. The Taurians they're much slower, and they're more they're like a sure thing. So you may just be entering in that, so if it's a recreational activity that you're doing, or you want to bring more of that into your just having fun, it's really about having fun, the 5th house. Then having Taurus in there, you may enjoy gardening. It may be a good thing for you to be doing, getting your hands in the soil, wonderful activity. Also doing things on the ground, so that's walking, hiking, anything like that. Any of those activities are going to be very, really good for you. Sensual activities as well, perhaps nice massage, anything that's going to keep you feeling good about yourself, and any of the, as I said, the artistic activities, and also beauty. Any of the beauty activities will enhance you as well. Then in your 6th house, you have Mars, which is force. So now this is a very powerful, fiery element. Mars is the god of war. Not saying that you're going to be going to war, but you may have elements of competition appearing in your 6th house, or something that you've got to fight for, something that you really got to be forceful and take action on. So the 6th house deals with work. It's the house of work. It's the house of craftsmanship. So mastering whatever it is whatever your craft is. It's all work projects, work colleagues, workplace, anything to do with work, your daily routine. And it's also massively to do with health and diet and pets. So you could be having quite a fiery pet entering your household as well. Or you could be, from your diet point of view, you may have to take action on that, because Mars being such a stimulating sign, it's high blood pressure, it's skin rashes, heat in the body. So you may want to look at that, or you may have to deal with that going forward. Something may appear to do with that, but anything that creates such heat and such stimulation, it's going to affect the body in that way. It's going to force the circulatory system to work overtime and so on. If it's to do with your workplace, you may have Mars type people, very action oriented. Some of them may be aggressive, hot-headed, lots of energy coming in with them, or you may be required to bring that into your workplace to achieve, to get things done. And you may have to, as I said, if you're busy on a work project, you may have to compete in some way, shape or form, or you may have to fight for, protect your interests, or fight for something. So it's a very quick moving, fast, fiery energy. And you could also be activating your passions about something that you want to do. So it's a very passionate, again, a very passionate warlike sign. So you may be literally putting the fire under something, getting a project going, getting something off the ground. If it's a hot air balloon, it's going to rise and so on. So expect action or take action in your 6th house. Then in your house of relationships, you have Scorpio, I transform. So Scorpio is ruled by Pluto, and that encompasses all the Plutonic energies. So you can expect a lot of intensity in your personal relationships. This is your personal one-on-one relationships. So between yourself and your partner, your love partner, or very close one-on-one relationships, or it could be a business relationship as well. So your business partner. So expect a lot of desire, a lot of, there could even be a bit of power play, because this is a very deep sign. Still waters run deep, that's Scorpio. But there may be something hidden, something clandestine, something hidden underneath as well. It could also be a lot of power and a lot of money being brought into your one-on-one relationships. And it also covers, so there's a lot of sexual desire, there's a lot of desire, full stop, and a lot of passion and a lot of intensity going on. It could be that you may be asked to bring some elements, whatever's right for you, to bring some of those elements in to your one-on-one relationship. As I said, ruled by Pluto, which also can bring in the aspect of transformation. So this is the element of taking something as is and transforming it. So using those energies to transform it from the phase that it's in, going forward into the future. So your relationships may just be going through a deep self-analysis and transformation, and it's required at this time. So the way you have been doing things before, the way you have lived before, the way you have related to each other, it's going to change now. It has to change. So this is symbolic death and rebirth. So it could be an ego death. Perhaps you've been bringing ego issues into your relationship, and that has caused some drama. And so now you need to transform that. Or it's the energy between you as well. So expect intensity there, and grappling with certain issues and then coming out of it. It could also be, Scorpio is a fixed sign. So they don't like change. They don't like things to be steady. And control. There's control there as well. So be aware that how you have been operating in your relationships, if you have been had a tendency to be controlling, or a tendency to be a bit manipulative, or just any of those elements, we've all got them. We've all got them appearing in our psyche in some way, shape, or form. So self-examination, do a bit of soul searching there, and take your relationship to the next level. So transform it. And so transform how it has been, work on it seriously, and then take it to the next level. So if your egos are coming in, you may receive you may have an issue to work through there, you and your partner, for the greater good. Always for the greater good. And as I said to you earlier, you've got part of fortune increase coming in there. So you're going to be you'll be able to resolve conflicts, move forward, make progress. You're going to have gifts dropped in your lap. You're going to feel very influential and be able to express yourself with feeling. You're going to be able to express yourself with feeling, with emotion. And this is necessary at this time, especially if it's coming up for you, if your relationships are really of prime importance at this time. So if you've got a conflict, you've got the ability and the opportunity to solve it, to move forward in a positive way. And you need to approach it with emotion. You need to actually access the deep waters of the Cancerian sign, and actually attune yourself to your partner and move forward to resolve any conflicts or any issues that may be coming up. Then in the 8th house, you have Sagittarius IC. So this is a much lighter kind of energy coming into your 8th house, because the 8th house is normally the house of Scorpio. So it's a deep house once again. This is all to do with shared resources between partners, emotional and physical, can be monetary as well. So all shared resources. It's sexual pleasure between your partners, deeper sexuality. And it can also be a relationship, as I said, with a business partner. So Sagittarians love freedom. They get very restless in set positions, or when there's not enough freedom. They get restless and will very soon move on. They like to have their personal freedom. So this house is, as I said, the deeper resources between partners, and it's also big money. It's investments, it's banking, it's tax, it's legacies, insurance and inheritances, and it's also the law. The 8th house is the lower courts, and this house also deals. It's a knock-on effect of all of those things. So, but it's mostly to do with big money and resources between partner and deeper sexual relationship. And it's also the house of symbolic death and rebirth. So something may end and something may come out, or something may need to be changed, and more freedom. So possibly if you have found that you've been a bit controlling in a relationship, or you've been with somebody who's been quite controlling in a relationship, you need to address those resources that you share between you and just loosen the reins a bit, to bring in a bit more freedom and a bit more light and a bit more opportunity to grow and to have more fun, to enjoy yourselves. Sagittarians love to be social. They love getting out and about. They also are drawn to teaching and to philosophy and religion and so on. So you may have those factors coming into your 8th house as well. But it's a lighter, more abundant energy, Sagittarius coming in there. But like I said, they need their freedom, and they get restless when they feel hemmed in. So you may need just to free things up a little bit in your relationship. When it comes to handling money, Sagittarians sometimes can fritter things away. They so busy enjoying themselves and having fun and traveling and getting out and about, that they sometimes live on the edge when it comes to finances. So, but you being a Capricorn, normally that wouldn't be the case with you, but you may feel the urge to do something like that. Then in the 9th house, you have Leo, I will. 9th house is to do with long distance travel, and it's to do with publishing, promotional work. It's to do with it's got all kinds of connotations with further education, so like universities or colleges or technicons, things like that. It's also philosophy, religion, your belief systems, and the gaining of wisdom. So it's connection with anything foreign as well. So whether you're traveling to a foreign country and exploring and having adventures there, or it could be dealing with people in different countries from yourself. So that's foreign cultures. So you may just be exposed to those. So with Leo appearing in there, Leo is a creative sign. So if you are needing to bring this, if you're a teacher and you're needing to, you may be needing to bring that in to your how you're projecting yourself there, and or if you're attending an institution, you may want to do something like that. But it's also Leo is ruled by the sun, so it's a sunny, bright sign. They bring a lot of energy into what they do, but they love to be social. They love to go out, and like to be the center of attention. And it's quite an uplifting energy. So you may just find, if it's to do with international travel, you may want to go somewhere that's romantic and lots of social activities, going to clubs and enjoying, wine bars and parties and so on. So you may want to enjoy a trip of that nature. Or it could just be that you are wanting to explore yourself in relationship to perhaps the publishing field or promotional work and so on. But you may find that you are in the limelight in some way, that, or possibly that the work that you have been doing or projecting has been noticed, and now you're in the limelight. So it could be bringing that in for you as well. But there's also exploration and adventure involved in this house. So it's a sunny, warm, vivacious sign. So just be careful that if you are working with a team, that you don't sort of hog the limelight too much. Enjoy the limelight, enjoy recognition, but always acknowledge those that work with you as well. Then in the 10th house, you have Libra. This is I balance. Your 10th house is all to do with your career. It's your ambition. It's authority figures in your life. It's also to do with your public status, your reputation, and fame, if that applies to you. So with Libra in that house, Libra loves balance. They love to have a harmonious environment. They don't like conflict. And if they do go into a conflicting situation, they will always try to negotiate for a resolution. So that is their forte. They like to make sure that their environment is harmonious. Sometimes it may mean that you may need to make a decision. So to balance the scales, you'll need to make a decision in some way, shape or form in your career or your public status. Public status is going from one form to another. So you may be an employee, now you're becoming an employer, or you may be going from single to married or the other way. It's some change of status or reputation. And you may need to be bringing the elements of Venus into your career. Venus is the ruler of relationships, but also love and beauty and harmony, and it also can bring abundance in as well, like windfalls. So if you're having to make a decision about your career, and if it's a change of career, you may be looking at fashion or the arts or beauty of some kind as a change of direction. Or it could just mean that you've got to make a decision of some kind in your career and your life path, as it were. Or if you're dealing with an authority figure, you may have to just negotiate your way through that to find a solution. Then in the 11th house, you have Gemini, I think. So your 11th house is friendships, and it's also your networks and your groups that you're members of. So this can be a group that you're a member of on Facebook or WhatsApp or whatever. So any kind of group, any kind of interest or hobby, and that will lead you to groups as well. So clubs, societies, that sort of thing. And obviously friendships. So now, if you've got Gemini, I think in there, Gemini is an air sign. It's all about communication, about your words. You may hear something, could even be gossip, because that can be, I fall under Gemini as well. It could be gossip about a friend or somebody in your network or in your group. Just be aware, just be careful about that, because gossip can be a very dangerous thing. So always try and verify what you hear and get to the bottom of it. It could be that you say something about one of those aspects, and it could bounce back at you as well. So just be careful. Be careful with your words. You've got Cancer there. Cancer's in your house of communication, just watch that. Feel deeply and go with your intuition and your instincts about things. It could also be that you're being required to increase your participation in your groups and your networks, and enhance your communication in those. So it's communication of all forms, words, whatever you're going to say. You may be asked to speak up on those issues as well, or to speak up about something that's falling into one of those areas, or you may need to communicate about your particular hobby or your interest to take it to the next level. And you may also be sort of having to harness new skills when it comes to technology, because Gemini is ruled by Mercury, and Mercury is involved with electronics and tech. So you may need to have a look at different ways of communicating, so whether that's social media or a new form of social media or a new aspect of social media that you haven't perhaps used before. So it's all to do with that. Then in your 12th house, you have the South Node. This is quite a deep aspect to be having in your 12th house. The 12th house is the deep unconscious, your unconscious drives, your subconscious, your drives, your what has shaped you internally. And it's also to do with retreat, with withdrawal, retreats, meditation, mysticism. It's to do with healing as well, and meditation, your spiritual life. And it can also be past life, because the South Node is all about past life. So if you are willing to explore those aspects, to look at that, or something's come up for you which you feel you need to explore, then find a trusted therapist to work you through your past lives, or to just help you deal with issues that may be coming up now. If past lives are not your thing, then it could just be issues from your past, and they haven't been resolved. And you need to close the door on them, because on the other side of that, on the opposite side of that, is you moving forward into a much better future. So you need to close the door on a range of things, or one particular issue that has literally been dragging you down into the depths. So deal with it and release it and let it go. Because otherwise it will be changed. You will go through some kind of shock or deep kind of trauma in order to release it. So it's going to be forced upon you if you don't willingly see to it. So it's about understanding yourself and finding ways and means to deal with it. So whether that's through meditation or mysticism, or going through healing, or just solitude and reflection, taking a retreat to address those issues. But you need to, it's karmic baggage. You need to let it go. You need to get rid of it. Also, this card, as I said, can bring about a bit of stress and trauma and change of some sort. Something will be forced upon you to deal with. And it can be, in the 12th house, you can be dealing with escapism of all kinds, drugs and addiction. And you may also have to visit institutions. You may not be needing to go to the institution necessarily, but you may have to go with somebody to an institution and your experience there. So it can be a hospital or a prison or a clinic or even a government department, any kind of institution, banking, universities, libraries. You may go there and it's your experience there. So you could go somewhere and just find somebody or see something which assists you in your own particular journey to address something that has bothered you, or something that you just need to let go of. It's baggage. You need to let go of it in order to move forward, because on the other side of that is progression, and that weight will be gone and you will be feeling so much better. It's also this was going to bring resolutions and endings. So endings, but a much better beginning. All right, well, hope you have a good month, and thank you for joining me, and take care.